Hello, welcome to the Security Update with me, Hamse Daabjeerin. In this program, we will be covering for you the latest stories that matter security in the African countries from West to Horn of Africa. Ahead on the program, Farmajo says foreign countries involved in Somalia's political crisis. 4 Ugandan soldiers injured in a helicopter crash in Somalia. Sudan army clashes with Ethiopian forces regain its control of seized borderland. UN Ethiopia strike a deal over aid workers' access to the trade. At least 24 dead in Morocco underground factory flood. Welcome to our program. Somalia President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo said during his address for the parliament that foreign countries creating political crisis in the country. This comes just hours after Somalia leaders failed to reach agreement on the Dusamareb consultative meeting.
Arrintaasi iyadana war kala ka yimid oo masuuroobin inaan horay u soconno.
Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo, Somalia president whose presidential term is almost expiring, enlightening during his address for the House of Representatives on Saturday, said foreign countries are involved in Somalia's political crisis, but he never revealed the names of those countries. While expounding the collapsed talks in Dusamareb, President Farmajo accentuated his government made a lot of compromises for the country to hold a timely, free and transparent election, and blamed some of his rivals for the failure of the talks.
iyadana war kala ka yimid oo masuuroobin inaan horay u soconno. Xaqiiqatan waxaan idin sheegayaa arrimaha doorashooyinka iyo guud ahaanba xaaladda Soomaaliya ay ku jirto waxaa ku jira faragelin shisheeye.
On Friday, Somalia federal government announced they had failed to reach agreement with these federal member states over the upcoming general elections, with no clear path to a vote just days before the government's mandate expires. Jubaland leader Ahmed Madoobe alleged President Farmajo wanted to conduct a unilateral electoral process in the Gida region, which is under the Jubaland state of Somalia. For the past year, there have been political disagreements between the federal government of Somalia and the federal member states on issues concerning the Gida region, electoral committee, and the election date. The African Union mission in Somalia has launched investigations in some circumstances under which it is helicopter crashes on Friday in southern Somalia, injuring 4 Ugandan People's Defense Forces.
The African Union mission in Somalia has launched the investigation into circumstances under which its helicopter crashed on Friday in southern Somalia, injuring 4 Ugandan People's Defense Force soldiers. In a statement released Sunday evening, Amazon said the helicopter, whose registration details were not disclosed, belonged to the AU's Mission Aviation Unit from the EPDF. The statement, however, said all the 4 soldiers aboard the helicopter will be stable condition following the incidents. All soldiers aboard the helicopter were rescued and are in a stable medical condition. Statement reads, the statement further says investigations into the crash are ongoing to determine the cause of the crash. However, preliminary reports indicate that it was due to a mechanical failure. The 4 soldiers rescued were on a mission to support its troops in Lower Shabelle region, crashed soon after the takeoff in Balidogle on February 5th. The UPDF deputy spokesman Dio Akiki confirmed the incident but could not divulge more details about the injured and the degree of injuries. The UPDF deployed choppers in Somalia in July last year to help the fight against Al-Shabaab militants.
Border clashes between the Sudanese army and Ethiopian forces were renewed in Al-Fashqa al-Sukra on Thursday. Sudanese sources have confirmed that army has regained control of new lands previously seized by Ethiopian forces.
Border clashes between the Sudanese army and the Ethiopian forces were renewed in Al-Fashqa al-Sukra on Thursday. Sudanese sources have confirmed that the army has regained control of new lands previously seized by Ethiopian forces. The clashes that took place on Thursday were confirmed by Sudanese local media, the Sudan Tribune, Al-Sudani Al-Tajiri, reporting that fatalities, injuries occurred on Sudan's side due to the fighting. The Sudan Tribune reported that the Sudanese army on Thursday recovered an area on the border following clashes with Ethiopian forces and militias in Al-Fashqa al-Sugra, resulting in 1 death and 8 injuries in the Sudanese forces. The news website quoted military sources stating that the army managed to control the area of the Kombo Melkamu located in Al-Fashqa al-Sugra, adjacent to the border strip with the Ethiopian Amhara region. The military source confirmed that the area of Kombo Melkamu had been recontrolled by Sudanese troops. Sudanese newspapers quoted eyewitnesses in the village of Barakat, Noreen, claiming that Ethiopian forces attacked Sudanese forces who responded and took control of the territory.
The government of Sudan says any unilateral attempt by Ethiopia to fill its hydropower project, called the Renaissance Dam, later in this year would directly threaten the country's national security.
Can be considered as an avenue for cooperation among the Nile countries.
The government of Sudan says any unilateral attempt by Ethiopia to fill its hydropower project called the Renaissance Dam later in the year would directly threaten the country's national security. Sudanese Irrigation and Water Resources Minister Yasser Abbas said this while speaking on the controversial dam. The minister disclosed that unilateral filling of the reservoir threatened electricity generation, drinking water station could also be put at risk, as well as the safety of 20 million Sudanese living downstream of the Ethiopian dam.
We completed a big meeting in Khartoum around the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. The political or the geopolitical location of Sudan makes Sudan in a very good position to support cooperation in the region between the upstream countries and the downstream countries.
The comments by Yasser Abbas is coming at a time of increased tension between Sudan and Ethiopia over the disputed farmland near their shared border, including the hostilities over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, which Ethiopia is building on the Blue Nile, close to the border with Sudan. Sudan is also proposing a mediation role for the United States, European Union, United Nations, and African Union as a way of breaking the deadlock in talks about the dam between Sudan, Egypt, and Ethiopia. To Egypt, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is a major threat to its fresh water supplies, more than 90% of which come from the Nile. The Blue Nile flows north into Sudan, then Egypt, and its Nile's main tributary. Ethiopia, on the other hand, says the dam is crucial to its economic development. The African Union has convened recent negotiations over the controversial dam between Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt, but talks have repeatedly yielded no results. Talks hosted by the United States last year also failed to bring about a fruitful outcome. Kamil Sadiq, CBA TV.
The United Nations Food Agency says it has reached a deal with the Ethiopian to expand access for aid workers and scale up operations in the country's conflict-hit Tigray region.
The United Nations Food Agency says it has reached a deal with Ethiopia to expand access for aid workers and scale up operations in the country's conflict-hit Tigray region. David Beasley, the head of the World Food Programme, made the announcement late on Saturday amid growing fears of humanitarian catastrophe in Tigray, a region of more than 5 million people. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed on November 4th ordered air raids and ground offensive against Tigray's former governing party, the Tigray People's Liberation Front, after its forces attacked federal army bases in the northern region. Abiy declared victory on November 28th after the TPLF withdrew from regional capital Mekelle and other main cities, but the low-level fighting has continued. Thousands of people are believed to have died and hundreds of thousands fled their homes since fighting began. Both sides deny the forces have committed atrocities and blame their rivals for killing the civilians. Top UN officials and international NGOs have repeatedly complained about access restrictions to Tigray. The government and the World Food Programme have agreed on a concrete step to expand access for humanitarian across Tigray, and the World Food Programme will scale up its operations, Beasley said on Twitter following a visit to Mekelle.
24 people died after heavy rain flooded an illegal underground textile workshop at a private house in the Moroccan port city. The state news agency reported Monday rescue workers recovered 24 bodies from the basement of the property and rescued 10 survivors who were taken to hospital. But we will be back after the short break.
Hello out there. Tune in to CBA TV, the voice of East Africa and beyond. There's so many people around the world who are watching along with you.
Welcome back to the program. 24 people died after heavy rain flooded an illegal underground textile workshop at a private house in the Moroccan port city. The state news agency reported Monday rescue workers recovered 24 bodies from the basement of the property and rescued 10 survivors who were taken to hospital.
Firefighters and emergency workers rescued 10 people from the factory in the basement of residential villa after heavy rains flooded illegal garment factory. Heavy rains flooded an illegal garment factory in the northern Moroccan city of Tangier, killing at least 28 workers on Monday. That raised the death toll from 24, reported earlier. Local authorities said firefighters and emergency workers rescued 10 people from the factory in the basement of the residential villa. Rescuers searched for others who might have been trapped in sudden flooding. The total number of laborers at the site wasn't. An investigation was opened. A shaken, unidentified woman who emerged from the flooded basement told a local site that no one had prepared for the deadly deluge. To meet growing international demand, numerous factories in Morocco, notably in Casablanca and Tangier, rely on unregulated shadow factories to speed up production and meet deadlines. Factories subcontract to such illegal contracts to better compete with cheaper Chinese and Turkish products.
Supporters of an opposition figure who is accused of rape come to blows with police on Monday in the capital Dhaka. Controversy has dogged Usmani Sonko over media reports that an employee of beauty salon had filed rape charges against him.
Controversy has dogged Osman Sonko over media reports that an employee of a beauty salon had filed rape charges against him. Sonko finished third in the 2019 election, which saw President Macky Sall win a second term in office, and is considered a future presidential contender in the West African state. The 46-year-old head of the opposition Pastef party denies the allegation on Twitter, saying it's a political plot created by the president.
We're here today to send a strong message to the President Sall to tell him that we will not accept that Sonko be sacrificed today as we did with the other opponents. Sonko is the national heritage that carries a social project to bring Senegal out of its rut. We will not accept today that he should be gagged, intimidated, persecuted or taken away. They want to silence Usman Sonko, but it won't work. Sonko is the only opponent we have left in Senegal. All the Senegalese youth believe in him. I left everything to take part in this protest because Sonko is worth the cost. This is shameful for a country like Senegal. Really, democracy is receding. It's not possible. It's unacceptable and it won't pass. Everybody has to get up because this will never happen. If it passes, Senegal is finished on its knees.
He had visited the salon to receive massages to relieve back pain and said the rape accusation was an attempt at political liquidation, adding that 2 people had always been present during the massage. The dozens of protesters surrounded Sonko's home on Monday and hurled rocks at police officers. Sonko reportedly refused to attend a police summons on Monday, saying he had parliamentary immunity, but said he would speak to investigators if it was lifted. Sonko's current whereabouts are unknown. Senegal's government was also not immediately available for comment.
The police commissioner of the African Union mission in Somalia has expressed satisfaction with the operational capacity of the mission's police officers currently serving in the Jubaland state of Somalia.
Speaking in Kismayo, Assistant Inspector General of Police AIGP Augustine Magnus Kiley said in addition to evaluating the preparedness and morale of the officers, he had also done a thorough assessment of the progress they were making in monitoring and mentoring and building the capacity of the Jubaland across the sectors where AMISOM operates.
It is part of our duty to be visiting the sectors to see the working cooperation between our police and other components. We are also here to seek the welfare of our personnel. We come here to see how they are living. Elections is just close by. We have to sensitize them also about their role in the conduct of the elections.
AMISOM police have been training Somali police officers on the requisite knowledge and skills necessary to secure the elections and provide safety for a peaceful process. AMISOM police is working closely with the Somali Police Force (SPF) as part of the National Election Security Task Force, which is the highest security agency put together to provide security at all venues during the upcoming national elections and also ensure that the process is safe and secure. The National Election Security Task Force will also provide security for all the election materials and election officials both at the federal and state levels. The task force is chaired by the SPF with support from AMISOM police.
His visit was purposely for him to actually ask the personnel how they are faring in regards to their duties, yeah? So he got a brief in regards to what we are doing. In addition, he also emphasized on the issue of discipline, that the men must be up and doing and must adhere to all basic directives and instructions, especially as it's contained in the SOP. And of course, his coming has actually assisted in resolving so many challenges we had.
Somalia's National Army Forces have claimed the killing of 8 Al-Shabaab fighters in Dusamareb city. Al-Shabaab has yet neither accepted nor denied the claim of the Somalia National Army Forces. According to Galmudug officials, at least 8 suspected Al-Shabaab fighters have been killed and several others were arrested after a brief clash with Somali forces near Dusamareb town. Galmudug security officers confirmed the army seized vehicles, motor rounds and weapons were recovered in the midnight operation after 10 Al-Shabaab fighters attacked the town with mortar shells. They also said 2 mortar shells landed inside the town, but did not cause casualties. New mortar attack by suspected Al-Shabaab militants on Dusamareb town. Thursday's night's attack would be the second time this week. Last Tuesday, Somali National Army Forces killed 3 Al-Shabaab fighters who carried out a mortar attack aimed at targeting a high-level government delegation in the central city of Dusamareb. These attacks coincide with the presence of the country's top federal government officials and the federal member states to discuss the upcoming general elections, which later ended up with no results. Libya's new interim Prime Minister, 61-year-old Engineer Abdul Hamid, promised to be ready to listen to and work with all Libyans and called for the reconstruction of the country during his first televised address on Saturday.
I would like to congratulate all Libyans on achieving this important success by agreeing on a new political roadmap that will form a path to end the conflict and reach elections on a constitutional and democratic basis.
Libya's new interim Prime Minister, 61-year-old Engineer Abdelhamid Dbeibah, promised to be ready to listen to and work with all Libyans and called for reconstruction of the country during his first televised address on Saturday. Libya welcomed a new interim government a day earlier aimed to resolving a decade of chaos between warring sides following UN-led talks. Libya was thrown into chaos after NATO-backed intervention ended Muammar Gaddafi's 4-decade rule in 2011. Since 2014, Libya has been split between West and East, administrations backed by foreign powers with GNA in Tripoli and rival administration backed by military strongmen Khalifa Haftar in the East. Though many hope for peace, ceasefires have previously failed, but acting UN envoy Stephen Williams, who facilitated week-long talks with Switzerland, called it a historic moment. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said, "I do believe it is a breakthrough." Britain, France, Germany, Italy and the United States welcomed the interim government but cautioned of long road ahead and said it would have to offer Libyans essential public services. Hailing from the city of Misrata, Dbeibah had led the Libyan Investment and Development Company under Gaddafi. The wealthy businessman has 21 days to form a cabinet, then another 3 weeks to win a vote of confidence in parliament by March 19 at the latest. A 3-member presidency council has also been chosen to head unity administration and steer the North African state towards the ballot box on December 24th. The vote is part of a complex UN-led process aiming to build on a fragile ceasefire in force since October that has cleared the way for resumption of oil exports on which the country is dependent.
At least one person was killed and 3 others wounded in a car pump explosion in the Somali capital Mogadishu on Saturday.
Captain Bashir Ahmed, a senior police officer in the city, told Garowe Online via phone that the blast was caused by an explosive device attached to a bulletproof car that went off at a petrol station in the KM4 vicinity. Ahmed added that the victims were civilians riding an auto rickshaw riding in the area at the time of the blast that was followed by heavy gunfire from a nearby police security checkpoint. The incident took place near the Africa Hotel along the airport road, which came under the Al-Shabaab attack last week that left at least 11 people, including a retired army general and newly wedded couple, dead. No group has so claimed responsibility for the bombing, which seems aimed to kill an official in the car. Police sealed off the site after the attack and no arrest was made. Somalia faces an increasing terrorist attack from Al-Shabaab as the political leaders are in deadlock over the electoral process as time is running out for President Farmajo's mandate, which is expiring on February 8th.
A Benin presidential candidate was wounded after shots were fired at his car soon after he filed his papers for the April presidential election, family members and the government said on Saturday.
Ganao Soglo, a former minister and son of ex-president Nicéphore Soglo, was wounded on Friday on the way to his farm in Zenvi, 35 kilometers from the West African country's commercial capital, Cotonou. He was one of 19 politicians who have filed papers for the April 11 ballot, including the incumbent Patrice Talon. Soglo was treated at a hospital in Cotonou. He is out of danger, but to remove the bullet, that will have to be in Ghana or Morocco, a Soglo family member told media. In a communique, Soglo said he was focused on his recovery and medical treatment after surviving a vile attack without giving details. Many Benin opposition figures are either in exile or are barred from running in the election. That has prompted criticism that the former French colony, once seen as a model of democracy, has veered into authoritarianism under Talon. Police have opened an investigation but have yet to issue a statement.
Suspected Al-Shabaab fighters have attacked a village in Mandera County near the Kenyan-Somalia border. According to locals who spoke to the media, the fighters attacked the home of Omachilo, village chief, and his office. According to residents, suspected Al-Shabaab fighters have attacked a village in Mandera County near the Kenya-Somalia border. The fighters attacked the home of the village chief and his office. Reports said the fighters torched the office of the chief. Police said no one was injured in the attack, adding that the attackers escaped as soon after the assault. And the Northeastern Regional Police Post said no injuries had been reported as well. Kenya's Northeastern region has been prone the brunt of grenade and gun attacks in the last several years since Kenya took its troops to Somalia to fight the Al-Shabaab group. This group has been attacking areas along the Somalia-Kenya border while targeting mostly non-locals working in the region, though they have not claimed responsibility for this attack. Many people, majority of them non-locals, have as a result lost their lives, while others left with permanent injuries. The group vowed to continue staging attacks on Kenya's soil until the East African nation withdrew from Somalia. Kenya had sent its troops to Somalia in 2011 to fight Al-Shabaab following several attacks in Kenya's coastal region, allegedly conducted by Al-Shabaab. And with that story of suspected Al-Shabaab fighters attacking a village in Mandera County near the Kenya-Somalia border at home of Omachilo, village chief, and his office, we'll wrap our program for this time. Thank you very much for being with us. My name is Hamse Daabjeerin.